And good morning, everybody. How we doing? Welcome back. This is Vinny Kuzz, coffee with Kuzz in the morning. Can't lie, little under the weather. Feeling better though today. I missed the pod last night with the guys, but Steven stood up, did a hell of a job. Want to shout out to all the panel that was there. I even saw, we're going to talk a little bit about, I even saw Red made an appearance last night. And so, Red, there you go. There's the cup of coffee. Y'all know how we do. We're going to stay on the show until we're done with the coffee. I ain't going to lie. It's my second cup already. I have been up since 4 a.m. this morning. I kind of watched the replay of the pod last night. Hey, Red, what's popping? How are you? Listen, I got an ode to you today. Right there. You handled your business. I'm glad you called Nick out. And since our fellow driver Nick says that he's representing himself and not the garage, kick his ass, baby. Kick his ass. Teach him something. Because I've been trying to, and he just, certain people remind me of a certain story I once heard. I'm sure a lot of people have heard it. Mr. DSN is in the building. Good morning. Good morning. All the way from Denver, Colorado. Listen, I heard this story I heard once. It says an old bull and a young bull. Y'all tell me in the comments if you guys have heard this story. Old bull and a young bull sitting up on a side of a valley, right? Sitting up on a ravine looking down into the valley. And the young bull looks down and sees all those cows down there. And the young bull says to the old bull, hey, let's run down there and grab one of them cows and do our thing. And the old bull says, slow down, son. Let's walk down and have our thing with all of them. And so what that meant to me at the time was when you have patience, it'll all come to you. And not just whatever it is that you're trying to strive to in life, whether it's getting out there and getting those catering orders or waiting on a ride to come through or, working the markets, whatever it is, it'll come to you. And one of the great things, and it took me a long time to learn this, and I sound a little preachy this morning, I apologize. But one of the greatest things I've ever learned was that if you wait long enough, by hook or by crook, whether by circumstances you could control or you can't control, you give it time and people will reveal who they truly are and what their motives are towards you. So, it's one of those things that you just got to sit back and wait. Just sit back and wait, yo. It'll come to you and you will begin to see all the bullshit. Anyway, good morning, Tom. What's popping? He sent me a text this morning. The only guy to send me a text this morning and check on me to see how I'm doing. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, we're 9:29. Let me bring up our chart here. We got some things to talk about today. I think I want to talk about them a little bit today, but I tell you, I did enjoy last night. I watched the replay this morning. I did enjoy that show. Everybody's handling their business. All right. So basically what I do, and remember, this is not financial advice, so don't do what I do, but I'm going to set up my chart. This is what my chart starts off like every day, right? This is where we start. It's 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock yesterday. That's the session from 6 o'clock yesterday, right? Now we got the 9:30. Bell just rang. Ding, ding, ding. Right? And if you've been with me a little bit, I wait for the first 5 minutes to develop. That's going to give me my orb or my opening range boundaries. Some people like 15 minutes. I like 5 minutes. I am a scalper. I am not a. I do have some investments, some long-term investments, but those you said them and forget them. And another thing, that I was listening to today, and if I can remember, somebody please remind me. I wanna link it up downstairs, because if you guys really want to start learning, understanding, not just money, just things in life, man. When you're my age, when you're my age, right? You remember when we were kids and they used to say, "Oh, time is wasted on the young. Time is wasted on the young." They wasn't lying, bro. Because what we know now, if we would have known then, would have probably given us a whole different type of path and outlook, and whichever way we want to go. And so for me, I'm just setting this up, y'all, right now. This don't mean nothing. We're gonna adjust this after this 5-minute candle, right? We can see what the market has done. We're kind of in this downtrend, short-term downtrend right here, right? I don't want to start marking this chart up, but you know what? This is relative. So we're kind of in our short-term downtrend right here, right? Yeah, we had a spike there towards the end of close yesterday, but obviously its price came back down. This dotted line is where price closed yesterday. So we know what yesterday's close was on the market. This is the MNQ. But if we scale out even more, we can see that the market has been trying to trend up. And I learned something so important today about the S&P and the market, and money printing, and inflation, and the S&P. And oh my God, I listen, I got to go back and I got to read it some more. I got to listen to it some more, because it just blew my mind, in the sense of that, listen, we're just spinning wheels. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that in a minute. I'm just trying to give you an idea what the market's been doing here over the last few days or so. We'll go right there. Yeah, there we go. This is stuff that I do on a regular. This is kind of like how I get my idea what the market's doing and what it's not doing. So there's a 1-hour chart here, and there's that. So we're breaking below this. I won't call it a legacy line, but we're breaking below this little spot here. We're going to see what it does here. If it bumps up, drops down, who knows? We don't care. I don't care about anything beyond day before yesterday. I just don't. I could give a shit less, because I'm not here for that. And the more that I think about it, the more I agree with my premise that I don't give a shit. Right? Look at that. Look at that opening range 5-minute candle. Big wicks. I'm going to tell you a quick story about these big ass wicks too. Market is dumping early. Right? This messed me up Tuesday, y'all. Tuesday, I blew an account, blew one of my evals, and dropped 900 on another one. Now, I didn't reset. I don't reset accounts. I let them reset on their own monthly. So we're down to one eval account right now. Look at this red candle. People are making money on this candle right here, y'all. They are making some bread on that candle. But I still got the one account. I got back $250 yesterday. I got caught in, and I actually started a video on this, and I decided to trash it. I figured I'd just talk with you guys. I realized that I'm trying to rush the result. And then you hear something like this morning, what I was listening to with Tom Ballou. If you guys don't know who Tom Ballou is, he's got 4.5 million followers. He operates a podcast, a real podcast, not a bullshit podcast, a real podcast with real people. Look at this candle go. Holy shit. Well, when we get this into the 1-minute chart, holy, look at that candle this morning. We're already down. Let's see, that's 27.75. What's that? 50 points. There we go. All right, so here's our opening range from 27 to 71. Holy shit, what a range. That's the beauty of the NASDAQ. 56-point drop off the opening bell. Look at that. Holy shit. That's a big drop. It's a big drop. But now we see what it does. We wait and see what it does. Anyway, I'm all over the place, y'all. I ain't trying to be them. I ain't trying to be that guy. I ain't trying to be all over the place. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Coffee with Kuzz. So watching the show last night, and I began to realize that, we all think a little differently based on how much time we've been driving. And we also do a lot based on what we perceive to be good pay. When we get into the YouTube game, video content creation, we're so blind by our own ambition and the path that we create in front of us. And don't get me twisted. I'm not talking about having a vision, but I'm talking about even the best vision boards have a reality to it. You understand what I'm saying? If you put a Bugatti on your vision board and you wind up with a Toyota, did you fail? Because in reality, both vehicles get you from point A to point B. I bet the Toyota isn't as fancy. If you put on your vision board, you want a Cybertruck and you get an F-150, did you fail? They both serve the same purpose. And so what I'm saying is you got to have reality. You always have to pay homage to those that were able to get the Bugatti. And a lot of times when they got that Bugatti, times were different. It was, I'm not going to say easier, but there were more advantages, meaning there was more addition by subtraction. Let me explain what I mean by addition by subtraction. If I enter into an arena and I'm going to fight, and I've only got to fight 5 people back then, it would be easier for me to take on those 5 people and win than if I go into that same arena today with 5,000 people. You follow what I'm saying? In this YouTube game, which is still early. It is early. The shift is changing, and we're going to talk about the monetary shift in a minute. The shift is changing. But in the beginning, YouTube, the hardest thing you had to do was turn on the damn camera. Do this. Because the videos wasn't shit. Everybody was doing it with, garbage cameras. Webcams in the beginning weren't even a thing. I remember Gary V, if you guys know Gary Vaynerchuk and his story, right? Which I did meet Gary V one time. I got 5 minutes, y'all. At a real estate conference at Joe Robbie Stadium one time. I was driving privately one of the keynotes. Anyway, if you look at what they did back then, and another story I always reference with that is Ron from the Rideshare Culture, right? He was on the video the other day I dropped yesterday with Tesla Rideshare. Ron from the Rideshare Culture at one time had more subscribers than Marquise Brownlee. He had more in the same field, in the same genre, tech space. Ron had more subs than Marquise Brownlee. But people's pursuit and wanting to get after it, their drive to get after it in an easier arena helped them get more success because people come to depend on what they see consistently. And they tend to trust as long as they can vet it out, obviously. You don't want to be talking shit, but you want to be honest about shit. And so last night there was a discussion, and I've had this discussion with Nick Williams, but there was a discussion between Nick and Steven. That's why I titled the show the morning after show. And Steven asked Nick a question, and the question was, do you think you can obtain the same type of success today as a rideshare content creator as you can from 7-8 years ago when Randy Scheer, the Uberman, was at it? If you were driving 7, 8 years ago and if you watched YouTube, everybody knew Randy. Everybody. There wasn't a soul. There were 3 content creators back then that were worth their salt. It was only 3. These were the big boys. And the rideshare guy wasn't one of them. Harry Campbell wasn't one of them. It was Randy Shear, Uberman. It was Calvin, the simple driver. Y'all OGs, y'all real OGs, you know who I'm talking about. You had those guys. And then there was a third dude that was got really popular midway through it, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But Gio, he was a real one. He showed. And here's the other thing. Calvin, Randy, and Gio showed you receipts. In other words, they didn't say I made X amount of dollars. They didn't say I was doing this. They were showing you receipts. If somebody makes a YouTube video and I made this much money and they're not showing you receipts, you need to get away from them. You need to get away from them. They're not worth. You have to take the information for more than what's just being said. That's why on my videos I show receipts. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm going to tell you the way it is, at least for me. Might be different for you guys. So I'm listening to this last night, well, this morning, during my first cup of coffee. And they were going back and forth. And Nick feels, well, yeah, I can make it happen. Nick feels I can make it happen. And I want him to make it happen. But to get to, listen, I ain't afraid to drop anybody's name. Obviously, I just dropped 3 of them. They brought the professor in to ask about, well, you think you could achieve the success as a professor? 2 or 3 things would have to happen to get there. One of which I'm not good with. I'm just not good with it. There's plenty of examples of it. I'm just not good with it. And I'm going to tie this into a comment that was made on Nick's Live the other day. You have to be extremely polarizing. You have to be. In other words, you have to be prepared to be controversial. Is it controversial if it's your real opinion? Well, it might be controversial to some, but to others, it's going to be okay because it's your real opinion. But is it controversial when you're purposely trying to be negative? In other words, you wake up this morning and you say, you know what? Today I want to go piss Steven off. I'm going to piss Steven off. I'm going to say Bitcoin sucks. I'm going to piss him off. That's a purposeful thing. You're trying to be negative. That shit is as authentic as a fucking, as a Dorito. It's not authentic. Doritos aren't authentic. It's 28 different chemicals created to make a chip. You can just take a potato, fry it, and you got a real potato chip. But if you come in and you say, Steven, this is my concerns with Bitcoin. Yeah, I understand it can't be hacked, and I understand this, that, and the other. But you know what? Even though my name's not on it, they can still track the moving of the asset, and eventually they'll find me. That's a true statement. That's a true opinion. That can be proven. But I'm not knocking Bitcoin or knocking Steven by saying, oh, Bitcoin sucks. No. So I guess my point to all this is, if you're going to be controversial, keep it honest and keep it real. But if you're going to be purposely negative, that shit ain't going to work. If you're going to be a grifter, I've said this a million times too, don't tell people shit that's just going to put them in their emotions all the time. Be honest with people. And then if they catch some kind of feeling, that's okay too. But misery loves fucking company. And if you can tap into people's feelings like MSN, Fox, CNN, MSDNC, all of these, that's what the stations do. Reuters just got popped. Whether it's true or not, they just got popped for receiving a bunch of money that they shouldn't have been getting for defense of social engineering or some shit. Reuters got paid for propaganda. Now, The way Elon described it, he didn't lie. It was the line item. Probably not the way it actually was meant to be. But nonetheless, Reuters was paid a shit ton of money to lie to the American people. There you go. That's what a grifter does. The rideshare professor does a lot of videos. Whether he needs to do them or not is irrelevant. I don't care. Right? But I give him credit because he does it every day. And there are thousands of drivers over the years. Same thing with the rideshare guy. Rideshare guy is what? 200,000 subs now? Right? But how many of those drivers of those 200,000 are still drivers? They just forgot to unsub. Same thing with the professor, right? Torsten, 80,000 subs. But how many of those subs are still there? I have 4,000 subs on this channel. How many of those subs are still there? I always say you can measure your audience by your subscription level. This is the way I do it, y'all. Y'all ain't got to do it that way. Take the number of subs and then get 10% of that. And if you're getting 10% on average, I'll even be generous, 8 to 12% on average of views of your total subscription count to views, I consider you still holding on to your audience. A lot of times I don't because I'm not consistent with my videos anymore, right? And I'm taking the rideshare content and moving that over to the Tesla rideshare channel. And I'm enjoying it over there. I don't know. This is what I enjoy doing, right? I'm trying to build a new lifestyle, which again, the more I go down the rabbit hole about monetary policy, the more I get pissed off because I've been lied to my whole goddamn life. But anyway, I digress. So in order for Nick to get to, as a YouTube content creator, to get to where Torsten is, he's going to have to grift, propaganda, be disingenuous. And I say this not because that's what the professor is. He's not. I'm not saying that. Well, he tends to grift a little bit, but that's not my point. My point is, in order to achieve those numbers, you got to do shit that ain't exactly honest. That's how I feel. It's just my opinion. Now, you can make the best content in the world. You can be the absolute best content in the world. But if people ain't feeling you, they're not going to watch. I mean, that's just the truth. I am contemplating right now picking up Paramount Plus back on as a subscription. Why am I doing that? 2 reasons. I dropped them because the whole Yellowstone 1926, the 1926 series was done, right? Season 1. It's taken too long for them to come to season 2. So I dropped them. That was $8 a month. There was nothing else to watch on there. But now, here it comes. Season 2 is coming back out. If I want to watch it, I'm going to have to subscribe. Plus Gladiator 2. I don't know. You guys know Gladiator, the movie, the original one with, God dang it, I can't think of it. Russell Crowe. Well, they made a part 2, right? An additional one. Now Lucius is all grown up, and now he becomes a gladiator. With Denzel Washington as the main name in the movie. Well, if I go ahead and subscribe back to Paramount Plus, I can watch the movie for free, right? And then I can catch up on. My point is, if you don't offer somebody something to watch, they're not going to come back and watch. So how do you hook people? You hook people with emotions. You hook people with hopes. You hook people with grifts. That's what happens. Because people don't want to hear the fucking truth. Whatever that truth is. Anyway, I'm way off the reservation this morning. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me go to the charts here real quick. Notice we are not trading anything, man. I just can't bring myself to trade with you guys live yet. But even though it gave us, remember this was that downtrend line here. Here's our opening range. This is our 5-minute orb to the top, 5-minute orb to the bottom. We did have a sell side liquidity here, right? Order block in there, so to speak. Well, it's sell side liquidity. I'm not going to call it order block. All right, so there we are. It did break below. It held it. It tested it, snapped back through on the 1 minute. But you know what it hasn't done? It hasn't given me a fair value gap to has it? No, hasn't given me a fair value gap for an entry into a trade. So now you could FOMO into this trade, and let's open up the 15, see how far down we can come here. So it looks like we're going to have something here. I'm just showing you guys what I would look at. This is what I would be looking at, right? So we're going to hit that for sure. That would have been an area. What am I on? The 15, right? Yeah, 15-minute chart. So let's trade this to purple. Let's get back over here somewhere. So there would have been a good spot there. It's a couple of hit points there, rejections, hit points there, breakthrough, rejected, back up. Okay, so here's one. The next level here is probably going to be, we can look down here. So you got a point there where it rejected, came through, retested, bounced up, came through, retested, bounced up. So let's see what happens here. We're going to put it back into the 1-minute chart. We got our areas. Can we get there? Can it get there? Can it get there? That's not what I want. So this would have been a short position. We really can't even do a short position because we need a fair value gap. So doing this could be considered catching a falling knife. Like you see the price going, all of a sudden you jump into the trade and the price automatically reverses, go back the other way. Now you're left holding the bag. Kind of like a lift stock investor right now. If you're holding lift stock, you caught a falling knife. I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't help it. Yeah, I'm pissing people off this morning. All right, so here's a fair value gap. Let's see what happens here. All right, so we bring this down to here, short position, 2 to 1. We'd take it to right there. If we were trading it, we're testing that fair value. Well, we're setting the fair value gap. Need to see the next candle. See what happens on the next candle here. Are we going to miss it? Is it going to come back up, retest that fair value gap, and continue down? We don't know. Let's see what happens. Anyway, y'all, I know I'm talking shit today. Y'all get off me. Y'all leave me alone. What's in the news, man? What's in the news? Oh, Uber, Lyft, or DD Global. Oh, you guys can't see that. Let me show you that. Sorry, y'all. I'm all over the place. I don't mean to be. Let's get over here. No. Yep, there we go. That's what I want. Here's the news. Uber, Lyft, or DD Global, which rideshare stock takes the fast lane to investor returns? Ain't none of them profitable yet. What are you going to do? But I saw this morning, y'all. And as drivers, we understand this. This came out yesterday. Uber and Lyft risk losing customers as fares jump. As fares jump 7.2%. Okay, they want me to register. We ain't going to do all that. I do not subscribe to any of these bums. But just off that headline, they're just now saying fares are jumping 7.2%. Did we not realize that fares have been going through the roof over the last year? And that's part of that Tom Ballou podcast I was listening to, where it says, where they were talking about the stock market goes up 8 to 10% a year. But technically, so does inflation. When you add in grocery and electricity, fuel, and when you add all that in together, that's how the Fed prints money. I can't wait till I fully understand it and bring it to you guys. Let's see. Lyft goes long. Lyft gets loan sell rating. Oh, somebody's saying sell Lyft. That usually means they don't agree. They downgraded their stock to a sell, as Lyft has underperformed Uber so far this year. You know what's funny about these articles? Is that if you really look at them and you watch who's doing the articles, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes these people are paid to write these hit pieces. Remember when I said last week during Lyft's earnings that in quarter 4, Lyft announced that they had taken a couple of percentage points of market share from Uber, right? But then this last earnings last week, with Lyft increasing their market share, meaning they're getting more customers. Uber's getting less, Lyft's getting more, increased market share. Lyft still failed to hit their number. They lost money, overall revenue. In other words, they bought their customers with discounted prices, which we just saw what the other article just say. What the other article just say? Hiking their fare 7.2%. What's this article saying? They're getting a sell rating because they didn't hit their revenue. They lost revenue. You can't buy customers. This is what I was just saying about YouTube. You can't buy subscribers. You can't buy viewers. Not for the long term, not for a successful thing. And so when we look at, the top dog rideshare guy, when we look at the number 2 guy, I don't know if he's number 2. I don't know if Professor's number 2. I don't know. But we look at those, anybody over 20,000 subs or more in the rideshare space. Do you really think they got 20,000 people watching their videos every single time they drop a video? No. But there was another name that was dropped last night. Another name that was dropped last night. And I always wonder, because I remember following the path, right? And he's got over 10,000 subs. But when you look at the views on the videos, it ain't 10,000. It ain't 10,000 subs. And so, were there purchased subscribers? Were there purchased views? Because see, this I do know. You watch I'll use my guy Jeff as an example. So Jeff used to be with the garage, right? And Jeff decided he no longer wanted to be with the garage. He wanted to go off and do his own thing. No problem. At the time, when he came into the garage, he had more subs than any of us. He was I think at like 3,000 subs, and I was I was just about to break 1,000. And then the thing about Jeff that makes Jeff's podcast so, makes him good. You can't knock the guy. The guy does a good job. He started to do a lot of them. And he started to do a lot of he was doing ride-alongs before a lot of people were doing ride-alongs, right? And when Jeff brings you a podcast, he backs it up with facts. Now, does he get boisterous? Yeah. No different than me. Does he drop the F-bombs? Yeah. That's who he is. Never be afraid to be who you are. And so he has exploded because drivers relate to him. But what he's not doing is he's not grifting his viewers. He's not telling them on one hand, stop driving for these motherfuckers. And then on the other hand, but use my referral code. That's a grift. I ain't got to go nowhere with that. Y'all already know. That's a grift. Jeff ain't doing that. If Jeff brings you something, it's because it's what he believes in his heart to be true. I'm cool with that. Whether Jeff and I speak again or not is irrelevant. Jeff and I, for the record, had no problem that I'm aware of. Okay? Now, he went off on his own. He's doing his own thing. And I think Jeff said 10, 12,000 subs now. He's earning his subs. He's not buying his subs. Lyft is buying their riders. And now all of a sudden, they get a sell rating. So you got to ask yourself this question. Do you believe Yahoo Finance and this writer, Joel Leon, whoever he is, right? Do you believe him in that hey, Lyft has a problem with their stock price, with their business model? Or is it a written hit piece? You don't know. So but as drivers, we see what's going on in the real world. It's funny. I was thinking about this yesterday. When an owner, I gotta take. So Bill Ackman, if y'all don't know, he's a big billionaire. He's got a huge stake in Uber. And he put out a statement that said something to the effect of, he's backing Uber 100%, believes in what they're doing, this, that, and the other. And that ever since, I'm paraphrasing, ever since Dara Khosrowshahi took over for Travis Kalanick, Uber's been on a steady upclimb. But what Bill Ackman what he failed to mention And I know he's got to know. You don't invest in Apple and not know that they use slave labor to make the fucking phones. If you don't realize, if you got an Apple phone, and you don't realize that slave labor is used on that, you're a fool. If you have an Android phone and you don't realize that slave labor is used, then you're a fool, right? And that's another country. But here in America, if you don't realize that your revenues are going up, but you're killing 7 million drivers out there, then you're a fool. Or you're just a greedy bastard, one or the other. So I wish Bill would come in with that. So where was I going with that? A boat, if I own a boat and I go to the boat captain and I say, Captain, how's my boat going today? And the captain says, oh, sir, Mr. Vinny, everything is fine. Your boat is excellent. No problems. But then if I go down below deck and I go to my head engineer, right? The head mechanic, I forget what they call him. The head mate. If I go to the head mate and say, hey, boat captain tells me the boat's fine. What do you think? Tell the truth. Shame the devil. Well, sir, we've ran out of 6 rolls of duct tape because that's how many holes we got in the bow down there. And she's barely holding on. There's no more chewing gum left to keep this thing floating. That's us. We're the first mate. As rideshare drivers, we are the first mate. We know we're getting screwed, which means Bill Ackman knows we're getting screwed, but yet he's propping up his buddy Dara and this guy, Risher, who's laughing at you, by the way, right? He's propping them up as being great things. So do we know if Uber, if this is retaliation? Did they hire this guy to write this hit piece and do the Lyft downgrade on their stock? But I would tend to think now, using context, if Lyft took market share in Q4, but they didn't hit revenues, they fell short in revenues in the first quarter of this year or whatever it was, last quarter. They took market share in third quarter. Let me correct myself. Third quarter, they lost and they lost revenue in the fourth quarter, which is a busy month. Maybe it's not a hit piece. Maybe it's the truth. Maybe it's the truth. Maybe Lyft should be on a sell. I don't drive for Lyft. I very rarely drive for Lyft. And the more that their CEO, David Risher, tweets, the less I even open up the app. The guy's laughing at us. He is so hardcore in pushing the fact that they're going to go with AVs by 2026, and certain markets are going to start in Dallas, might be 3 or 5 or 10 or 100, however many cars it's going to be. But he's telling the world, yeah, we're not worried about the drivers because we got AVs on the way. If I were in Dallas, if I lived in Dallas, if I were a Dallas driver, bro, there's no way I would drive for Lyft. Knowing we know Uber's going to do the same thing, but Uber's not swinging. They're not smacking you in the face with it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying I don't open up the app that much. Since the snafu with the luxury, the Lux Black incentive program that they had 3 different dates on it. We talked about it in a video. I haven't opened them up much. Every time I see Risher now on Twitter, he's more divisive. He's dividing us more from the riders as much as he can. He's only worried about his stock price and instead of worried about his business. I don't know if that makes sense, but as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, y'all. Anyway, I know I'm up here talking shit today. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's get back to the charts. All right, what happened here? What did we miss? So, y'all see this, right? That trade would have been good. See that? That trade would have been real good. Came down right to where we thought it would come down to. Came down a little further. Now we're going back up. We got a 3-bar reversal on the 1 minute. Let's see what the 15 minute says here. Look at that candle. Holy Jesus. Look at that big red candle there. Holy Jesus. We got some market sell-off today, baby. That candle alone there, another 163 points. So, we got 163 points there. We got what? 56 points here. So, what's that? 215 points down this morning. 210 points down this morning right there because the green candle's coming back up. That's how much it's down right now. 215, 212. Craziness, huh? That's the market, bro. I'm kind of glad I'm here with y'all and not trying to trade that. Because trying to trade this might get me in trouble. Jeez. All right. Anyway. Although it's hitting all my pivot points, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, there it is, hitting another pivot point right now. Let's get back into the 1 minute. Let's bring this down, throw up my pivot points. Look at that, trying to hit that pivot point. Hit that pivot point, broke below it. Now it's retesting it. I don't want that. Get out of there. See if it holds off on this pivot point. This orange line here is a pivot point based on Fibonacci off previous day's movement. It's going to come down, retest this, bounce back up. Since we already hit that, we can get rid of that. Interesting, y'all. Interesting. Anyway, my coffee's cold. Ah! Who else in the chat today? All right. Yup is here. MBU is here. Richie was here. I don't know if he's still here or not. Anyway, let's take a look at the market. I'm just curious. You guys want to see what Uber and Lyft are doing? Let's see what Uber and Lyft are doing. This is midday live. Let's see what Uber is doing this morning. All right, let's look at Uber on the 1 hour. Currently trading at $80. Wow, they've come back a lot. Look at that. They are really, and this is why guys like Ackman, they all they're doing is protecting their investment. If he comes out strong and says, "Man, this is a great buy. We believe in it," it's because they got a huge stake, right? So Uber's made a nice comeback since earnings, right? And they should have, because look, their earnings, right? They did good. They were estimated 49 cents per share. They came in at 321 per share. That's huge. Their revenue, the estimated was 11.7 billion. They came in at 11.9 billion. That's huge. That's positive. You can't lie about that. You cannot lie about that. And I got news for you. Uber still pays better than Lyft 10 times over. So when I go to drive, Uber's my bitch. I make Uber my bitch. I'm not Uber's bitch. That's for sure. Let's see what's going on here. But we're starting to flatten out a little bit here, right? Starting to flatten out. See what happens. Because, oh man, it's got to be close to all-time highs, no? It's getting there. This is Uber's all-time highs right here. $87, give or take. And right now they're trading at $80.69. Good for Uber. Let them do their thing, because we still need Uber. If you didn't need Uber, you wouldn't have turned it on this morning. Lyft, on the other hand, well, that's a whole different ballgame. Lyft right now is trading at $13.38. How have they done since earnings? We'll break this back down to the hourly, make it a little bit easier for people to see it. All right, there's earnings. Right? Remember what I said? They did good on their per earnings. They did good, 29 cents, estimated 21 cents. Right? More normal numbers, 40%. But they're estimated they lost. They lost money. Or they estimated to make 1.5 billion, they only made 1.55 instead of 1.56. You say it's not that big a deal. It's $9 million. That's a big deal. $9 million is a big deal. I don't give a damn. And they're pretty flat. Right? They're pretty flat. They're not going away yet. They're pretty flat. Had a nice little bump, came right back down. I don't know what happened here. I don't pay attention to them. Lyft price target maintained with a $21 per share. But we just read another one that just downgraded them to sell with a price target to $10 from $19. So who do you believe? Who do you believe? Right? You got one hit piece up here says, oh, Lyft will be $21 a share. And you got another hit piece here. Oh, no, we're taking it from 19 down to 10. Now, here, let's do a little experiment real quick. I'll put this back on the daily, right? Let's do a little experiment real quick. If we take, we'll put this at $21 a share, right? That's close enough. $21 per share. That's $21 per share. And then the other guy just downgraded him to $10 a share. Which one is that magnet closer to? When we look at $21 per share, okay, they haven't been at $21 per share since May of 2022. I'm sorry. Since March of 2024 was the last time they were up around that $22 range, $21 range. Prior to that, it was August of 2022. I say they get down to $10 before they get to 21. Anybody want to take a bet on that? We can make a wager. We can make a wager because they look a lot closer to this $10 than they do to that 21. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, I just figured I'd show you all that. Get back over here to what I do. So let's go back to M&Q. That's what we've been looking at all day. All right, y'all. I know I'm running my mouth a lot today. Big, drastic moves. So we're rejecting. Now, these purple, for those who don't know, these purples are my 15-minute timelines. Remember, I put these support resistance lines live for you here. This is not financial advice. We're not trading. I ain't telling you what to do. I haven't made a trade. I don't even have the paper trading up. I'm not a trader. I'm learning this game. That's cold. I am learning the game. But we broke below that one. Came down, came back up, retested that 2058, and came right back into this fair value gap. So it's an interesting thing. What time is it? Oh, it's 10:12. All right. So let's get out of that one. Let's turn on the silver bullet. Now, this is telling me, you see this fair value gap here? This is a bearish fair value gap. This is telling me if I believe in this strategy, then I should be going short here. So we're going to open up my paper trading because I will never do a live trade on here, right? We're going to, see, now I just took it away. Could get a 2 and through, or we're going to snap this and come right back down. So that is the beauty of the market. You never know. Let's see, that fair value gap would have been about right there. If we take it back to here, this is something Eddie is into heavily. Let's see, we'll take a 1-to-1, which should be 2-to-1. All right, there's a 2-to-1, up to down, close. There it is, 2-to-1. Hitting that there. Let's do this. Let's create a limit order. Come over here, one contract. Close that up. And now we'll wait and see what happens. If it rejects off my 21 here, comes back here, I got this buy order in here on this paper trade, then we'll see what happens. Oop, I might need that though. Oh, I can just hit it there. If not, if it comes all the way back up here and keeps going, then, then we don't touch it. That's how we do it. Oh, Counting Tom. Oh, like the video. Hey, I'd appreciate it if somebody would like the video. That'd be cool. I don't even know. And you're good. Listen to you. Man, I'm running my mouth today. I got a lot. I'm telling you, man, I was listening to Tom Ballou. If you guys don't know him, you guys really need to let me go get him. Let me go get a link to his channel. Y'all want to listen to a real podcast, not me? Y'all listen to Tom Ballou. This guy is phenomenal, man. Here, I'm gonna post him up here in the chat, and then I'll pin him in the chat. I'll pin him at the top. Y'all go check out this channel, man. Y'all check out that channel. I'm telling you. And the two that I really want you to listen to is the one on the $300,000 Bitcoin, which is really, really good. And then there's another one that I was listening to that I'm going to finish listening to, which is called Elon Musk's Big Lie Exposed. You need to listen to those two. Okay? Phenomenal. Phenomenal. They're long form podcasts, so you can listen to them while you're at work. County Tom, do you understand what I meant about overpaying your utilities? Yes. Now I get it. Okay, this trade is invalid. Give me 1 second, Tom. So this trade is going to be invalid unless it rejects. If it does reject here, then we can we could go short. Get our trend line going here. See what happens. But yes, Thomas, I hear you. If your utility bill is $100 a month, if your water bill is $50 a month, if your car note is $500 a month, you overpay. Well, I can't really count the car payment, but your water bill, your light bill, your cell phone bills, if you can pay an extra $10 or $20 on that payment, then it goes as a credit. So when times get tough, you've got this credit built up, and eventually you'll be enough ahead to where you might even be able to skip a month because it's already paid. I'm assuming that's what you were saying. That's like a thing I heard yesterday too. Was the guy was saying when most working people, when they get a paycheck, they take that paycheck and they pay their bills first, and then whatever's left over is what they use to, spend on, with some of that hopefully going to investment. Well, the subject was, could you still invest the way Warren Buffett did? Could you do that? Do you have 20, 30, 40, 50 years to wait? Because Warren Buffett was not wealthy until like the late 70s, early 80s is when he really blew up as an investor. Everybody thinks Warren Buffett is this great big investor. Warren Buffett's wealth grew substantially in the late 70s, early 80s because our credit market blew up. Inflation blew up. The value of the dollar went down and he was able to increase his wealth. Wasn't that he was any smarter. Now, he's smart. Don't get me wrong. He knows a shit ton more than I'll ever know. But I'm just saying that. What the guy was saying was, when you get a paycheck, and I know Richie Hustles does this. Okay, I got it, Tom. Thank you, sir. Richie Hustles does this, bro. He takes his rideshare money. Half of that money, when he does rideshare, half of that money, he puts it right into Bitcoin. Half. Doesn't matter. Takes half his money, puts it right into Bitcoin. Now, he's got other revenues of streams of revenue too. But he takes half of his money, puts it right into Bitcoin. And that's what the guy was saying. He says, whatever you plan to invest, whether it's 5%, 10%, 2%, 1%, whatever it is, take that and pay your future self first. Take that 1%, invest it into the S&P. Take that 2% or 5%, invest it into Bitcoin. Whatever it is you're going to invest in. And then the argument, and I need to get Steven for this, so maybe Sunday night we can do this show. We need to do another crypto show because we got an idea we want to do live on stream so everybody can follow. So everybody can follow what we're going to do. Okay? Hopefully Sunday night we can do it. But what he's saying is, if you like, God, can I even go there with this? I don't want to misquote it. The gentleman was saying that we don't live in a capitalist society here in America. That we haven't been a capitalist society because we have a central bank. And because the central bank's purpose, job, the Fed, whatever, is to control monetary policy, then the free market doesn't have the ability, i.e. you and me, you as a seller, me as a buyer, to control the marketplace. Our friend Omar is a strong proponent of free market. Free market means if you have a product and I'm a buyer, whatever I'm willing to pay is what determines how much your product sells for. And if I'm willing to pay more for that product than the next guy, that's the free market. But when you get the central bank involved, well, they're going to control the ebb and flow of the value of the dollar. They control, think about it, they control unemployment numbers, whether they're true or not, which we found out under the Biden administration a lot. And trust me, I know it was under Bush and Clinton and Obama and all of them, right? Even probably under Trump the first term. But when you have somebody controlling the monetary policy, their levers are lying to us about unemployment numbers, lying to us about inflation. Here's a good example. God, this is what I wanted to talk about last night on the show. I was just too damn sick to get into it. As a driver, bear with me. I don't know how many people are still here, but as a driver, are you making more money gross? Gross. Now I'm talking gross. Are you making more money now after 4 years of Biden? Or were you making more money with Trump? That's the first question. But when determining that number of how much of that gross you're making, and then your net, your expenses out. See, are you more profitable now, or were you more profitable then? Here's my point. When we break down, we're talking 10 cents a mile. The difference in cost or payouts is about 10, 15 cents a mile. We're just going to use 10 cents a mile just for argument's sake, okay? If you're making 10 cents less a mile now than you were 4 years ago, and that 10 cents brought you to $100, you make your $100 a day. I want to make sure I say this right. Your gross is $100 today. Your gross was $100 then. You're making 10 cents less now, so you have to drive another ride. You have to do one more ride to make that $100. Plus, your fuel cost has gone up because it's double what it was 4 years ago. You're actually making the same money or a little bit more because you got to do the extra ride, but you're netting less because of inflation. Does that make sense? If I got $100 and it only costs, you guys that are watching Tesla Rideshare, it's $80 a day for the car, and y'all see my charging costs and my lunch costs. Some days I only spend 100, 110. Saturday I spent like 120, 125. But I made more money, but my net shrunk because it cost me more to make that money. It's a whole lot to this. I know I'm all mixed up there with that, but if it's costing you more to make the same amount of money now that you did then, was it better then, or is it better now? And is it because the apps are bending us over, or is it because our own government bent us over? That's the question. The apps have taken money from us. But have the apps taken more money from us than the government has? Or did the government cost us more money than what the apps took from us? That's what I meant to say. I hope somebody sees that in the back end. Which one was more abusive to us? The apps or the government? I shouldn't even call it the government. Was it the apps or was it the administration? That's the question. That's the real question. Yeah. Anyway, we are at the 1 hour mark. Sorry, y'all. Listen, you guys are my therapy. You guys are my therapy, and today you probably saved me a ton of money. Whew. Trying to see where I would have gotten to this trade. I probably would have tried something here. Maybe. It's a fair value gap here. Trying to see where I would have gotten to this trade. There's a fair value gap there. But it didn't come in. The next candle formed the fair value gap, so that's not a retest. It's another fair value gap there. Another fair value gap there. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get into it until right here. That would have been the optimal right here. Because it came back Came into it. We could have had a sell order in there. Yeah, we could have had a sell order in here. It could have rode this down 2-1. Here, we got a fair value gap going back to the upside. Right? Broke market structure. Right here. To and through. Came back, tested this 22.58. It's aligning with the 21. Chances are pretty good this is going to come back up to VWAP. So, yeah. Plus, we got a bullish fair value gap right here. Came down. See, to me, that closed it. Depends on where that candle closed. That candle body closes. No, it didn't. Did not complete the fair value gap. Okay. So that would be a, let's see if this goes. It just moves at 20.58, right? Yeah. Yeah, where was that at? Right there. Right there. No. It's 20.58. God damn it, Goose. Oh, somewhere in there, wherever it was. Just probably go back up. All right, y'all. With that being said, I'm gonna cut this loose. I ran my mouth enough. I appreciate y'all joining me for Coffee with Kuzz. We did not take a trade today because I was too busy running my mouth. Check out the pinned comment, Tom Ballou. You'll be much smarter for it. Probably better than 95% of the people on YouTube. Definitely learning a lot from those podcasts. And it's a dose of reality, bro. It's a dose of reality. At the end of the day, everybody's trying to get paid. But if you don't understand how some of these complexities work, then then we're all just peasants. If we don't take the time to learn their game is huge. You want a real piece of advice? Let me rephrase. I'm gonna leave you with this. The best way to teach some company a lesson is you hit them where their shareholders are. It's the best way. If you want to teach DoorDash a lesson for stealing your tips, don't turn on the app. And then go on your social media and tell everybody, don't turn on your app. I don't work for DoorDash. I never have. Never even downloaded their app. But I do know 6 or 7 different states have sued the shit out of them for stealing your tips. Proven, and they admitted to stealing your tips. And yet, in those 6 or 7 states, people are still turning on the DoorDash app. Now, ask me if I feel sorry for you. I can't feel sorry for somebody who goes back to getting punched in the face every day. Can't feel sorry for you. I drive for Uber. Uber, 20% of the time, sends me dead-ass trash. Right? My acceptance rating, I think, is 62%. It hovers between 60 and 80. But not because I accept everything. Don't believe that bullshit either. Just because you have a high acceptance rating doesn't mean you're accepting trash. If you're an ex-driver and you only have that platform, then you might be accepting too much stuff. If you're a comfort driver and you got a high acceptance rating, maybe there's some rides in there that, they're garbage, but you took them anyway. But I'm not going to judge you for that. But if you're a premier driver, it's a different animal. A premier driver usually will have a very high acceptance rating. Think about what I'm saying. And don't conflate the two with a trip radar and an exclusive ride offer, because trip radars don't affect your acceptance rating. So if I start the day with 70% acceptance rating, right, and I'm on Premier only or Premier and Comfort, and the only comfort trips I got sent to me were trip radars, and I declined all of them, my acceptance rating didn't move. So don't believe the bullshit that your acceptance rating means you take a lot of garbage. I heard that the other day. That pissed me off because it's false. You have to add context to what you're saying. I'm just saying. It's bullshit. But at the same point, My acceptance rate is 62%. I do a lot. I've been getting a lot of reservations. I would say if I get 10 reservation requests, I might only accept 3. My acceptance rating is still 62%. But I've only accepted 30% of, you see what I'm saying? Context is everything, bro. Context is everything. But I'm not running down the hill to go get me one of those cows. I'm cruising down the hill. I'm going to go get them all. And with that, I'm out. Have a great day, y'all. See y'all. I will be doing some live streaming out this week on Tesla Rideshare channel. I will have vlogs out again for the Tesla Rideshare channel. I will get some kind of vlog up on this channel either this weekend. Stay tuned. Take a look out Sunday night if it's available. If Steven's available and I'm available, we'll bring you a crypto show because we haven't done one in a month. All right. With that, y'all, I'm out.